the NFL podcast. Challenges you to play Marc in tennis.
From the Chris Wesseling podcast studio, it's Around the NFL. I'm Dan Hanzus. Got some heroes in the studio. Gregg Rosenthal, Marc Sessler. Marc, how is your tennis career going? We haven't heard much. You were dominant against children and your wife, but where are we at now?
That was a spot start. There's been very little action since. We have a sort of a ramshackle tennis court up the street from where we live, but it's under construction right now. The entire park that it's attached to is under construction. So the civic angle of it has shut down my career. It's not my issue. I'm very determined.
Well,
personally.
I've played multiple times this week with my son Walker, and I'm really training him with Marc in mind. I want to get him good enough to beat Marc. I feel and now he's a regular listener of the podcast, which is a big change. He's a 7-year-old. He likes podcasts.
That is a big change.
He just started listening about a week or two ago, and he's very into it. And I don't know if it's going to change what I say on the podcast, but just saying hi to sometimes we have adult topics, but one topic he'll definitely appreciate is him destroying Marc in tennis in about a
Walker,
year.
you come find me on any court in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Come find me on any court in Santa Monica, any court in Venice, any court in California.
I love this. And now the provocateur in me is trying to think about how can we set up some type of live event.
Plus I'll lose, which is a disaster.
Plays against Gregg's by then 8-year-old son. That would be very exciting.
Right.
No peace here. This would be the war on the court. What do they call it? What's like a term? Like a
Courts of Thunder.
Court clash.
I don't know. I think what it ultimately will be is like
hell on clay.
It's like the movie King Richard, except the end is just my son can beat Marc, not become transformative Grand Slam champions, the greatest.
Well,
you're the Will Smith role in that one, apparently.
Right.
Okay.
Gregg's always seen him as a Will Smith type.
All right.
Hey, how about the Oscars? No. Okay. All right. So today is Hump Day. Here we go. Is this good or bad? Depends on your perspective on life. I think it's good. I think it's also good that Connor Orr is joining us today.
Always good.
I think it's good. This is our third show this week. It's our training camp. We're getting our reps in.
Absolutely. And Connor is going to join us for one of my favorite recurring, it's only the second one, but as of this afternoon, it will be a recurring segment in every summer. Team Slogans 2022 around the NFL. And
it's now tied flashpoints in terms of its episodic quantity.
How about, let's circle back to that. Remember when Gregg tried to sideswipe it?
I totally do. I think about it all the time.
What is that? And I was thinking about the other thing with Greggy. He's brought up a couple times like the connection you and I have.
Yeah.
I think that's a subtle way to try to drive a wedge as well by kind of calling attention to it in some type of weird way. Gregg, why are you always causing trouble?
You're reading into it. I think it's mostly that your chairs face each other and mine kind of face the hallway.
Okay.
But you're just often staring into each other's eyes. And I picked up on, after a month and a half, everyone's happy to be together.
Right.
I think we all are as a threesome, but your eyes, when they meet, there's just a little more crackling in the
way
air.
that we used to sit when it was me here on the edge, Wes, you, and then Gregg. That would often happen with Gregg and I. I do think there's something to what he's saying strategically.
That's true. Me and Marc used to kind of stare at each other during the show, too. So
but also,
I do like staring at you, Gregg.
And yet again, without getting into specifics, before the show, Gregg was explaining a conflict he found himself in with a shadowy figure.
That was months old.
And it's just like, maybe we need somebody for Gregg to lock eyes with, I guess is what I'm saying, so he could get away from these things that cause the drive divisions.
I think it's healthy.
Well, we'll just plant someone out.
You, Gregg.
Plant someone out in the hallway outside of the Chris Wesseling podcast studio.
Just like stare at you.
Just to stand there.
In a very creepy manner. All right. Before we get to Mr. Orr, let us get to the latest news.
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. Clark caught it! Dwight Clark! It's a madhouse at Candlestick with 51 seconds left.
Ah, yes. Joe Montana to Dwight Clark in the 1981 NFC title game. And yes, on the call, the great and now sadly late Vin Scully, who passed away on Tuesday at the age of 94. Talk to anybody that's worked in a booth, anybody that's grew up listening to this man call not just football games, but especially baseball games, and really all different kinds of sports throughout an incredible 6-decade-plus career. He's the best to ever do it. So losing Vin Scully, especially for people, and all three of us are transplants, but especially if you live in Southern California, because Vin Scully was born in the Bronx, same borough of New York City where my dad's from, but he quickly caught on with the Brooklyn Dodgers, made the move across country to L.A., and called every Dodger game. And this is impossible to wrap your head around, especially because football, by its nature, is a different sport. All this talk about, who's the three-man booth here, who's going to mesh with this guy in this booth, how many millions of dollars. Vin Scully, for half a century, sat in a booth at Dodger Stadium solo and played music with his stories and his voice and his folksy wisdom, as you always hear, connected to him, and to all the Dodgers fans and every baseball fans and sports fans. Yes, this was a tough loss.
I listened to an incredible interview he had with Dan Patrick. It's from a long time ago, but they were playing it this morning. And he talked about the fact that, would he fit in today? If he came out of the blue today, I mean, technically and from his voice angle and his ability to do it, yes, but he was also just from a very special time. I mean, the amount of, historical Dodgers knowledge. He sat and announced Jackie Robinson way back in the day. And I think you're so right about the idea that even doing radio with 2 or 3 other people would be tough. But to narrate baseball games, and we're talking 160 of them plus a year, day after day, with the storytelling ability, there's no one else like him, and I'm just comfortable saying there will never be another Vin Scully. And we're lucky enough I've been here for 18 years. I have a lot of memories of just watching him do his work.
Right. When I lived here the first time around, right out of college, I got super into the Dodgers because I was really into baseball at the time, and I just started watching every game, and Vin Scully was the reason why. I mean, the mayor of the city said that his passing's the end of a chapter of the city's history, and I know there's important broadcasters and what they mean to their local cities, but Scully in L.A. is sort of unmatched.
Next level. Rest in peace, Vin Scully. A life well lived. Let's get to the news.
Do we mean as much to Los Angeles, the three of us? Why would I ask that?
I mean,
no.
At this point, it feels a little early. It feels a little early to ask that question.
We did a nice button up. You're bringing in the irreverence, which is fine. That's what we do. The answer is no, but maybe in parts of Scotland. I don't know. Little pockets.
Start somewhere, I guess.
All right, let's get to it. Tim Patrick. We talked about it on yesterday's show. The promising wide receiver of the Broncos was carted off the field after twisting his leg coming down from a crazy leaping catch. That according to a dispatch from the practice from Robert Mays of The Athletic. And now we get the news that many were hoping we would not get, but it is what it is, because he suffered a torn ACL in Tuesday's practice, and you know what that means. His season is over. Gregg, we touched on it yesterday, so I don't know how hard we have to go in.
Yeah.
But he fit what Russell Wilson does well, and now the Broncos have to find another path.
Right. They really need Courtland Sutton to be Courtland Sutton this year. And I think it was kind of under the radar that he wasn't the guy he normally is. There was a thought maybe Patrick was the best receiver on this team. Certainly last year, but maybe even going into this year. So you need Sutton to show up. You need Jerry Jeudy to take that leap. And you would love to see KJ Hamler, who this week made some news, being very open about his mental health and how hard it's been for him coming back from a torn knee, that he was thinking of ending his life, and he was happy to be back on the field. And now he has a big role on this team. So just not quite as much depth, but just from a team perspective, don't think it's devastating. From Patrick's perspective, it's terrible, but it's a good thing. He did sign a long-term contract last November with the Broncos, so he will be with them for a while.
I think so much of what they're going to do is around Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams too. I think they're very balanced, and I'm leery when I hear, and it's not a constant drumbeat, but Broncos AFC title game, Broncos automatic 12-13 wins. I mean, a couple more injuries and their offense doesn't look so flashy. And on top of it, it's been a more of a name offense where you like the potential of Jerry Jeudy, of Courtland Sutton, of Albert O, of KJ Hamler, but they have yet to put it together. They didn't have a quarterback before, though, so that can change things.
Yes, and the Broncos, you could absolutely make a case for the Broncos being a big-time team this season. But it's the AFC West, and a few things go wrong, like you're saying, with any of these 4 teams, and they very quickly, because of the schedule and what a war it's going to be inside that division, your season can fall off a cliff quickly. So
yeah, it's a big loss.
Yeah, Denver can survive this, and I must say, hey, less monitoring of Will Fuller, George Payton, more picking up the phone, calling me up and see if we can work out a deal, because that might be someone, a guy, a burner, a guy that's a chunk yard guy, a guy that's hungry, the guy that wants it. Hey, maybe
you're taking
Will
on
Fuller
this
makes
client
sense.
at the most appropriate time, which
I think it
again
makes
tells
sense,
me
though.
you've got the instincts for the
A
job.
true outside receiver.
There you
I think
go.
in a perfect world, Jerry Jeudy is moving inside and out a lot of the in-breaking routes, where Patrick was really just a pure outside guy. He's not the burner that Fuller is, certainly.
We don't
but I think
need
it can
Will
work.
to be running a full complement route tree. We don't need Matt Harmon doing the breakdown of reception-perception on Will Fuller. I just need him to go deep. And Russell Wilson, as we know from one of our producers on Mount Rushmore, our very large Mount Rushmore producers, TD once said, Russell Wilson throws a sexy deep ball. Go get it, Will.
He's right about that.
In other news, the Cardinals are spending more money. Marc wanted to say something because of his relationship with TD, which is very hot and cold. I'm going to give you the floor.
I did. No, I wish TD well. It's been a while since we've spoken, but I think that
it was hot and cold. I kind of forgot about that part of our history.
It was very.
Watch out, Gravedigger.
I think
his relationships with the producers.
I think Justin's probably already picking up on that.
He would needle me in certain ways, and I would respond. I mean, Justin has been an excellent communicator and a hard worker, and so things are good.
TD wasn't
Justin
afraid to kind of jump in the fray and mix it up, which I appreciated.
What's TD up to these days? He's doing I know he's working with LeBron for a while. I don't know if that's still.
I think he got a new job.
He has a new gig, but he is an executive. That's
Good
all
for him.
I know. That's
Good
all
for
I know.
him. Another success story. The Cardinals doing more business. Left tackle DJ Humphries assigned a 3-year, $66.8 million extension through 2025. So the Cardinals, Marc, get a deal done with Kyler. Now they get another deal done with DJ Humphries, the left tackle.
This kind of came out of nowhere. There's not been any hold-in or like a lot of hoopla about DJ Humphries. They did say last week they wanted to get something done with him. I think for them it's a nice story because I viewed him early on as a kind of a draft bust, and then he went on to become more consistent. He's played 16, 17 starts 3 years in a row. He was the 4th best tackle from PFF in 2020. The rest of their line is going to be in transition because Justin Pugh, Rodney Hudson, who wanted to retire, Will Hernandez, Kelvin Beachum are all in their early 30s, or one of them is 27. I mean, they're going to have to make adjustments there. This is the one guy they can count on. I guess if you've just gone and done this with Kyler Murray, you don't want to suddenly be looking for a left tackle. I'm not saying he's stellar, but he's who they have right now.
It's good to be a tackle. 6'5", 307. It's hard to just become one of them, but if you can, you could be a guy as under the radar as DJ Humphries, and you can get a $66.8 million
It's his 3rd deal with them.
extension. Right, like when he signed the last one, which I'm looking now, it was literally the last Roto-World post of him was his last contract, which was a 3-year, $45 million contract. I remember at the time, it was like, wow, DJ Humphries is getting a $45 million contract, and look at this, he's getting to the end of it, and they're giving him another. I am publishing this very Wednesday the top 25 free agents of 2023. A little look
ahead of it.
Not a great crop in general, but he would have probably made the top 25 before this news. There are a couple tackles out there, but not much.
Interesting.
So
I see.
Money.
You'll send in the morning the rundown of the news suggesting what we should hit, and we usually hit all of it. And you have a parenthetical open slammer question mark close parenthetical. Do you not like the contract?
Well, it just seemed like, wow, $66.8 million for DJ Humphries.
Got it.
Not a guy people think of as a top 10 tackle, but that's just the money itself made it feel like, well, we should talk about any contract that big.
Doesn't it feel like this is a team that needs to get off to a quick start to kind of bury some of the drama? They open with the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Rams. I don't love that.
Well, good luck.
No DeAndre Hopkins.
I think getting the Kyler deal done, kind of chilled the drama out a little bit. I think by the time we get
COVID
to
like 12 hours later, it just seems like whatever
mid-September,
happens
unless
with
they
this
go
team
0-3, then it's going to be going crazy.
And it's different. Anyway, in other news, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, he is now with the Saints, practicing with the Saints. He had missed a week of camp to attend to a family matter, but now he joins a secondary in New Orleans that was already strong. And You know, Gregg, we look at the Saints and we've talked about their high ceiling and low floor, and you have a lot of questions about the offense, but the defense looks pretty damn good with Honey Badger a cherry on top.
On paper, I believe that they believe they'll be the best defense in the league. That's sort of the expectations, and that's hard to count on. And I think the safety position is interesting. Matthew, there were a lot of whispers of like, what is going on here? So I thought it was just like worth putting it out there that he's back, because him and Marcus May are maybe similar-ish talents in terms of what they do well. May is coming off of an injury, so I'm curious how they'll be used.
I mean, the one thing is Dennis Allen said we'll welcome him back with open arms, and it was a personal matter. So I kind of
seems like the story's over.
Yeah,
but
I think the story.
They
were
like
just he's a tried and tested veteran. They didn't need him there at the early part of camp. But the one thing to your point, Dan, like the reports, this almost could have been a whisper yesterday, that they're saying that their second team secondary has been like destroying Andy Dalton in practice. That they are deep at the position. that it's like, I think it's the best secondary in the league. I think the Ravens are up there potentially, but they have a chance to, like, in a pass-happy league, have their defense control.
Paulson Adebo, their second-year cornerback, who had a nice rookie season as a starter, getting a lot of pop. On paper, they might be the best defense in the league.
Calm down.
On paper.
I know. You're excited. It's good.
I don't trust it, though. Defense. I never really trust defenses.
All right. Irv Smith Jr., the tight end of the Vikings, has thumb surgery. He's uncertain for week 1, so keep an eye on that situation. He's potentially a big part of their offense under Kevin O'Connell, the new coach and play caller. And finally, Tom Brady is now 45 years old. And the hell is this?
This is the song we're picking for Tom Brady.
Turn this up in my headphones.
Yeah, so I got a folder of old drops, and this one was called Happy Birthday.
All right, crank it up.
I mean, crank it up was not the reaction I was looking for.
No, wait, I'm kind of into it. All right, so... Oh, here, backing box? Is that a gospel choir?
It's getting better.
That was Tom.
This is like if Marc ends up in a cult in his 60s, I could imagine you guys all singing that together every morning.
I have one called Happy Birthday Scary.
No, we're good. We're good on the birthday stuff, but good production work. How about the cult comment I made there?
I think it's appropriate. I mean, I don't know. Would we believe in birthdays, or do you just eschew all that business, as you would say?
Like every day in this cult is everyone's birthday because everyone is new every morning.
We celebrate all of us every day.
That
makes sense.
We've come from the
Anyway,
earth.
Tom Brady's 45, and we don't have to dwell on this or whatever. Leonard Fournette, because, that's just passage of time. It's a thing. We all know about it. Leonard Fournette sent a photo of a goat's head. He's the greatest of all time. And not only is he the greatest quarterback of all time, the most successful, decorated quarterback, football player in the history of our league, he is still, everybody needs to be reminded, maybe the best quarterback in the league. He turned 45 today.
Right. He was my choice for MVP. He is literally the first 45-year-old starting quarterback in NFL history. Like that, I know we keep saying that each and every year, that like he's the most productive 42-year-old ever. He's the most productive 43-year-old now. But now we've reached the point he's literally the first 45-year-old starting quarterback in the history of professional football. And guess who's number 2 right now on that
Geno Smith
2023 free agents list? It's Tom Brady.
Who's number 1?
Lamar. Just because of the age, but like Tom Brady, unlike most of the top 5 to 8. I would say has a realistic chance, I think, of not playing for the Bucs and continuing to play football next year. Considering he was trying to do it this year, we have to assume that there's a chance that he will take advantage of free agency and play elsewhere next year.
If that's something that's on a board in Vegas, I would think the Dolphins right now would be like, what, 3-1 favorites? Something
really?
Like that.
See, now it's almost embarrassing to go play for the Dolphins. How did he not get punished for this at all? That's a whole nother thing. But
He's been involved in every sort of problematic scenario with the league where they took away first-round picks.
Right.
They've all involved Tom Brady.
If I had to guess, I would say...
Get the red string out. Everything connects back to the 45-year-old gunslinger.
I would say like retirement is more likely than returning to the Bucs, which is more likely than playing for another team. But I feel like there's like a decent chance he's playing for some random team next year.
I could see that. Absolutely.
Interesting.
He called this shot. He called this shot 5 years ago.
Who knows? Someone. I think he might enjoy being a free agent again.
It is, and it's I think so. And I also think it's a very veteran win now Bucks outfit. So if things go sideways this season and they're not feeling or looking so hot in 2023, I think he would want to again hand pick a spot that would.
He's also
serve
like
him
the
best.
GM of the Bucks, though, so that's nice. I guess he could be that.
And he essentially got the coach fired.
It's like, let's bring in Kyle Rudolph.
I don't want to put
Julio
I want to put this bad energy out there. But what if Zach Wilson year 2 goes the same as Zach Wilson year 1, and they have a really good young roster? Otherwise,
the thing is that Tom Brady has said this verbally. He hates the Jets.
Oh please, they all love money.
I mean, someone else come pay him
more.
more.
Roster.
If Trey Lance bombs this year,
there you go.
That's one. They'd give him 1 year. You think?
That's it. They did. That was how they got Jimmy G. They called up asking for Tom Brady, and Bill was like, "No, but would you like
They would
Jimmy
probably
G?
do that. The Niners would. Yeah.
Titans.
Put the Niners atop the board. The Dolphins.
Titans with Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, Titans were reportedly in on the pursuit when he went to Tampa Bay.
Go to Tennessee?
Well, it was in play in theory before.
I want this all to keep bubbling up because otherwise this free agent list is kind of blah. But this will be good for spicy.
All right, we got to get to Connor.
I love Tom Brady.
Love you, bro.
We got to get to Connor Orr. So let's take a break and then hit Team Slogans 2022. Welcome back. Joining us now is, you want to talk about guest Mount Rushmore. Without a doubt, this man is on it. One of our favorites, former colleague and now a star over at Sports Illustrated, the MMQB. You know who I'm talking about. Or are you kidding me? Connor's back.
What's up, everybody?
I know Connor, I think, was here while I was out over the summer for a show. Is that right?
That's right. We had some fun with Connor a few months back. I love that our show has such a place in Connor's heart. And I'd be a little worried, frankly, if I was his Sports Illustrated boss, that in the background is like a framed picture from one of our listeners. Mm-hmm. Like showing what a key character he was when Or You Kidding Me was really popping off.
In that vein, I got a bone to pick with you guys before we get started.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
So if you want like Colleen Wolfe to come on the show, do you text Colleen Wolfe or do you have a producer text Colleen Wolfe?
We text Colleen Wolfe personally.
Yeah. Okay. If you want Kevin Patra to come on, do you text Kevin Patra or do you have a producer text
I see where he's
Kevin
going
Patra?
with this.
We text Patra.
Yeah. So
all right. Yeah. So let's not third party me next time.
Okay. So what you're saying is you don't like Graver.
I'm just not one of your bookable guests. I feel like I'm I'm a friend of the show.
Connor,
that's a good point.
You're a best friend of the show. In our defense, I did fly in a couple days ago with checking in on Connor. Hey, let's talk about the show. That did come in from me personally. Does that mean anything?
Okay. That's fair. I just want to be treated the way that I deserve to be.
No, we're getting lazy.
There are some diva tendencies to what you're saying, Connor.
If the follow-up text or contact with Connor also comes from Justin, you'll be talking about slogans with the boys. We'll need 10 to 20 of them. Then I get it. But old Zeuser Tugboat came into port and said, hey, let's chop it up. Let's maybe talk a little Orioles baseball. Right. I didn't get any of that from him either. And then he told me he was too busy to text. So,
well, wait, Connor, I mean, it sounds like you're at fault here to some. There's two sides to this story, unfortunately for you.
Well, not unless I bring it up. I think Dan's lying. So let's.
And for new listeners, the old Zeuser and Tugboat, they're not men of the sea that we just know. That's actually Dan talking about himself.
I'll let them figure it out.
I'm just letting them figure it out.
For Christ's sake, Gregg. Connor, last summer, we had a great time with you breaking down the teams of our league and team slogans that best fit where these organizations sit as they enter another year of football. We could not do this exercise without you, so we're very happy to have you join us. So what we're going to do here is spin through the league. Let's go alphabetical order.
Ooh.
And anybody that has a slogan, jump in. Okay? And Connor, of course, you as well as as an all-time guest.
Let's do it.
Maybe
Are we going
my favorite.
alphabetical by city or by nickname?
We're going to go alphabetical by city. I hope that doesn't mess with anyone. Okay, Connor.
That's actually how I formatted mine, and I'm stunned that that's how this is occurring.
Not
me.
me. I'm in a world of hurt.
All right. Hang in there, Gregg. Let's get going with the Arizona Cardinals. Connor, do you have anything for the Cards?
Yeah, I was thinking, you're going to have to say it the right way, but something like get to class. Arizona Cardinals 2022. Get to class.
I like that.
That's
I like
good.
that. Playing off the Kyler Murray issue. I have something similar. Claws out. So you have the clause with the Cardinal, but also the clause itself. And the contract.
That is good.
Yeah, but
That's nice.
On the promotional materials, I don't know how. Maybe you have the X through the USE, and then just make it like a claw.
The signage.
I think that's it. I think some Cardinals fan out there should actually make that. I can't match it, but mine is, it is our call of duty to win the Super Bowl.
Video games. Yes.
I am realizing that I'm remembering last year that I maybe did not understand the slogans as well as you guys, but here's mine. Disorganized in the desert? You would be too if your bloodstream was utterly awash with utopian-forming peyote straight from the personal collection of Carlos Castaneda. I think the Cardinals strike me as very...
This is the same thing as last year.
They're very disorganized. I just feel like
don't try to make a point after it. Let it sit.
Right.
Let it marinate.
It's a slogan.
Let
How about
us
just make
marinate.
it disorganized in the desert? Question mark.
The slogan should more or less stand on its own. Once you say it, everybody goes,
Disorganized in the desert, large font, and then there'd be some font underneath.
I've got some
it.
longer ones just as a change-up, but I don't know if you want that as your
all right, how about the Atlanta Falcons? Anybody?
I have one. Some things in life must simply be tolerated.
Yeah. Okay.
See, I went with a similar one. This is actually a quote from Andy Warhol. He said, "You need to let the little things that would ordinarily bore you suddenly thrill you."
That's
very
good.
good.
I
Very
like
good.
that.
Yes.
I like that.
I decided I wanted to play off a very interesting press conference by Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator. Let's play a little of that, Gravedigger.
We're changing a culture around this daggone place. Okay, and it's not going to be mediocre. It's not going to be average. It's not going to be in the bottom half of the league like it's been 15 out of the last 20 years. Sick of that crap. We got to take charge, and it ain't going to be anybody else to do it but us. Okay, I'm tired of everybody telling us how bad we are. So after a while, you start believing it. Just like you never tell your children and stuff like, hey, you guys, you get mad at a teacher that says, telling some kid he's stupid, right? You don't ever tell somebody that, because pretty soon they start believing it. Guys around here on defense sometimes believe, hey, 15th is okay or whatever. I've been in the top 10 one time out of the last 20 years.
That's catchy.
How about that? Atlanta Falcons, don't call our kids stupid. All right, Baltimore.
I'm glad we heard that. I do throw one in here. Just trying to change the subject almost. If you're the Falcons,
sure.
is honestly, it doesn't look great. But have you even heard about those sex robots?
Oh, so it's more like a just change the subject
Just
situation?
change the subject.
I
'cause,
get you.
like the technology that's going on right now, it's crazy. It's crazy.
How about the Baltimore Ravens? Greg, I know you have something for the Ravens.
I absolutely do. We all did our homework. I got multiple ones, but this one's just simple. Oh, you made Lamar mad, didn't you?
Oh, okay. The Lamar army is strong with the Lamar's going to be better because everyone's so mean to him and
Similarly
stuff.
would be just like Lamar is going to you up.
Yeah. What do you have, Marc?
I have Edgar Allan Poe. Never watched a second of pro football, but we've chosen to co-opt his poem, which he wrote in the middle of a brown liquor-fueled depression in order to cook up our bird mascot.
This is kind of like a Damashek bit that he wasn't like that Poe wasn't really from there, and that the poem doesn't make sense.
Well, it's also factual, but
Poe was from Baltimore, I thought.
I'm just claiming he was not a pro football fan. That's as far as I've gone with it.
Yeah. All right, you got one, Connor?
Yeah, I have two. The first one is now the least creepy team in the division.
That's good.
That's it.
All right.
And then just stunningly competent.
I think that puts a bow on it. How about the Buffalo Bills? This one is, I'll just throw it out there. What possibly could go wrong?
I have something
A little
very
bit
similar.
of a jinx.
Mine is we're on the same party line here. When literally everyone assumes you're barnstorming into the Super Bowl, it's bound to happen without a single hiccup.
See, this is the only problem with this is people want to be like repeating these slogans over and over all year.
I've got a few shorter ones.
You want it to be like in the locker room on the wall that you tap when you go in. You want it to be on the media guide.
Mine was the exact same as Dan, but with a preamble. Just Super Bowl or bust. What could go wrong?
Connor?
It's too similar to even verbalize at this point.
How about Carolina Panthers?
My body, my rules.
I like it. I don't know what it means, but I love it. And now,
we're going to fire everybody.
How about pick again?
I mean, this is your team, Connor. Keep pounding is one of the most successful team slogans of the last
give us one, Connor.
decades.
Not to put you on the spot. Pounding. Give us one, please.
Well, that was what I had written down is we're going to fire everybody.
No. Give us a keep pounding. Just give me a greatest hit.
One of your patented ones.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Keep pounding.
I like there's a large segment of our listeners that do not like that. That's why it needs to keep coming back. Picture again the media guide, and it's Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold back-to-back, arms crossed, looking at the camera in a fierce manner. Imagine it was 2018, though. That's good. Chicago Bears. The one I had something for this. It's similar in vein to like changing the subject. Make a weekend of it, and then you just have like Wrigley Field, the Riverboat Architecture Tour, nightlife, the hot dogs, the mirror sculpture thing. Just kind of play that up more.
I'm not topping that one with what I had, so I think you've nailed that.
That's strong. I just realized I forgot about the entire NFC North, but hey.
Hey, if you went in alphabetical order by city, you would not have done that. Got one, Connor?
Just Robert Quinn. Like, that's kind of going to be there, Like, hey, that's our best player. That's not bad.
This one weirdly stumped me, so if someone could step up with the Cincinnati Bengals.
I have this definitely won't go to our heads.
I had something similar, actually. Go ahead.
One, I think it's good to bring enthusiasm sometimes. So just like Joe and Chase and T, roar.
All right, I like that. How about you, Connor?
I have enjoy it while you can. This expensive.
That's great.
Yes.
Well, another one, because I think you could just, this is something I think Mike Brown might actually do. Is just like win one for Mike Brown.
I like
Wes wouldn't like that.
Yeah. I like how you can, based on what our slogans are, you could guess collectively what we think their team records to be. That sounded like a 9-8 breakdown of the Bengals just now.
No. My first one was more of a 13-4, just like we're partying.
All right. Cleveland Browns. Connor, erstwhile Browns fan yourself at this point? Where are we at?
No, it's over. We've shipped out all the merchandise. We replaced one of my kids had a Browns bear, and it was actually very cool. One of my colleagues stepped up and said, because I said, I'm throwing this stuff out. I don't want it in my house anymore. And one of my colleagues said, okay, I'll send her a bear of a team that she can absolutely root for. So now we're exclusively rooting for the U.S. women's national soccer team. That's what our house does.
Oh, that's quality.
So you're just out on rooting for a football team. This reminds me of something I've meant to bring up on the podcast multiple times. I think this is a good spot for it. It's a little off topic. The Football Outsiders Almanac this year brought up Marc Sessler by name in context of all the fans leaving the Browns, and they said like the most notable name, Marc Sessler of NFL.com.
Really?
Who's the author?
In the write-up,
Sessy made it. Sessler. I mean, how about that guy? Who is that guy?
Rivers McCown.
He's a top 10 football
wrote up
insider.
that one.
Gonna send him like a barrel of wine.
But you are basically the symbol, and I guess Connor, your Browns love was not quite as intense as Marc, but now you're along with
Not
him.
quite.
Not
Marc,
even close.
The reason why Marc is in that write-up is because, stay Stu-Gotts. Marc is a very public figure in the football realm at this point, and nobody had the passion for the Browns that Marc did. So I'm totally signing off on football. That's just good work by the Outsiders.
I appreciate
you
that.
are now the symbol of people jumping ship. I'm looking for the exact, write-up, but that was
Connor,
that was
you know there's a lot of Browns fans in Cleveland that basically hate anyone that did that. I hear about it all the time on Twitter, and I get that's happening. That would be happening with any fan base.
Before we get to this, and I don't want to get too far afield, but we talked about, and very, notably, Ian was on the show, we talked about the insiders and how this story was reported. All the reporters on Twitter that are like sending out photos of Deshaun Watson posing with children and signing footballs and like quotes like "We love you, Deshaun" and all this stuff. It's like that's similar to me that what you were talking about, Greg. Like, and I know now the money's not involved and you're not doing the quote unquote work of the agent. I think that to me was notable, but it's also it's a gray area morally, I think, because of what's going on.
It also can be seen as doing a favor for that agent, who a lot of these reporters have very close relationships
with. And the Browns.
And Marc does not, and this is the write-up. The Browns have heard and lost many fans because of this trade. NFL.com's Marc Sessler, perhaps the most prominent and public about it.
Well, I think part of it
is
is
their slogan.
No, I'm just saying
that's in Football Outsiders.
That's the write-up in my favorite football preview of the year. And I've never been mentioned in it, and there you are,
Thanks
Marc.
for bringing that up. I mean,
very nice.
I think that would work as a slogan, sort of.
All right, my slogan though is a little more to the point, which is what? Oh, whatever. You would have done it too.
Well, there were other teams that did want to do it. Got one, Connor?
I went with because the area code, they call themselves the 216. So I said the 21 sycophants.
Yeah. Marc?
Don't think that'd be popular.
Mine's strange, Connor. I have a zip code in mine, and it goes like this. Come on down to our satanic black mass this Saturday evening at 5:55 p.m. at 99 Dark Forest Court, Circleville, Ohio, zip code 43113.
I can't beat that. Let's move forward. Dallas Cowboys. I think this is playing off again. The exercise to me is, what does the team want to put out there? What is the vibe that they want to kind of reinforce ahead of the season? They're very sensitive about this Mike McCarthy situation and Sean Payton. And my feelings about Mike McCarthy? Zaddy ain't going nowhere.
Not
like
till about week 12.
Because he lost weight. I don't know if you heard in his introductory press conference, his workout routine was a topic of conversation, that he lost a lot of weight, he's fitter, and he even would think of the media sometime while he was in his workout for motivation. So he was kind of taking some jabs here, but he's looking like a real zaddy.
Meanwhile, Andy Reid is grinding film.
Stop.
Fair. Don't be the zaddy like that. Don't do him dirty. Lame. Anybody else got one for the Cowboys?
I have just based off that vibe, Dallas Cowboys 2022. It's us versus the guy she told you not to worry about.
Anybody else? All right, let's move to the Denver Broncos.
I have a very dumb one.
Let's hear it.
Mine too.
You're coming up with a bunch of these, and some of them are just like, this is a clunker. But I could see it attracting a certain type of person. You're going off the head coach's last name. The team shouts out, "We can hack it. Can you hack it?" And then the fans,
I like that.
The fans say back, "Yes, I will, son." Like Wilson, but Will, son. Like you're speaking to a child, maybe.
Very
the team.
But they also have to,
clever
lift
slogan.
up one finger
Yes, I
and
will.
kind of do
Yeah.
a little shake with attitude, like Marc did. I think
It's also incredibly stupid.
we need that
so.
for.
I like that.
That was the social clip right there. Was Marc doing? I love that. I think that was really good. I'm going to come up with one that I think just it works. It's got a certain ring to it. Let's ride.
There you go.
Country,
Yeah, I think
let's ride.
they've got their slogan.
Yeah, mine's like embrace the cringe. It's going to be super cringy this year. Russell Wilson's going to do a bunch of corny stuff, but he's also going to win you a bunch of games. How about you, Connor?
I was saying Javante some more or something like that. That one was workshopping a little bit. Yeah. So I was just kind of hoping you wouldn't call me for that one.
Go with the guy who's in a split backfield.
The Detroit Lions. I have, aren't you so original for picking us as your final wild card team in the NFC?
Oh,
that's perfect.
See, this is what happens. It's like the off season's too long, and now we're pushing against the things we all kind of thought.
Just getting ahead of that
4 months ago. You're right. You're right.
I have Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, which is a film title, but they are like cats in a way, and
Sure.
I think they want to be aggressive and win on both sides of the line.
I like that.
They sure do. How about you, Connor?
We're going to suck at full speed.
Speaking of the Lions, they are the Hard Knocks team, and the Around the NFL podcast has a big Hard Knocks announcement coming up on Monday. That's a tease. That's an industry tease. I'll leave it at that.
Can't
you got
wait.
one, Greg?
This is I'm in my NFC North black hole.
Right. All right. Connor, what do you got for the Green Bay Packers?
I'm going to pass on this one because I had a long list of troubling sort of vaccine-related jokes that I was workshopping last year, and so I'm gonna let that one. I'm gonna let that one
They're
slide.
not popping as much. Like it's not like our feelings on the matter have changed, but just the vaccine joke's not popping as much.
Sure,
correct.
Not as timely.
It's not coming in at 97 on the corner anymore. How about you, Mark?
This was also halfway workshopped. It says, among other things, we've convinced humans from the Midwest to wear massive pieces of cheese on their heads.
It shows the power of the Packers.
Internal power.
In Wisconsin and the surrounding territories. For me, well, guess what?
Green Bay, timeout.
Tugboat timeout. I'm not talking about the Packers in this exercise. They're on tugboat timeout. Remember that. Houston Texans. I don't have anything for the Houston Texans.
They were. I went with just try and find where we buried David Culley. Seriously, what happened to that guy?
An actual challenge. We're challenging you to find the body.
Yeah.
Could be doing the thing where like you don't get another job, so you keep the pay you got from the Houston Texans.
Because at least with the ball boys with Deflategate, the Patriots at least said, "Hey, we buried those guys under the Mass Pike." So you knew it was that thoroughfare, and that's a very large roadway, but at least you had a general idea where they buried those bodies after the murders. We don't know where David Culley is.
No, those two boys are findable. They're dead. Culley is it's undetected.
How about even 7 wins would feel amazing? Like set the bar fairly low, because it's true. If they won 7 games, it would feel like everything's amazing in Houston. Like everything about Watson is gone.
I have a rafflecopter just crashed onto our lawn.
What's a rafflecopter?
Like a rolling on the floor laughing copter.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Capital ROFL copter. It's it's super funny.
Now this isn't a callback to the Rosencopter, Sage Rosenfeld's famous play as a member of the Houston Texans, where he spun in the air and fumbled the ball.
No, but that's
a nice little time.
There's a link.
Nice little time.
Indianapolis Colts. This one, I think, again, playing into what they want you to remember and what you want to think about at all times. Now with 100% less Wentz.
That's good. How about similarly, like chug an ice cold Matty Ice and forget those student loans.
Student loans.
Strange.
Just like let football just forget about all that.
I have good but not great. Part 7.
Yeah, that's about right.
Am I allowed to swear on this?
Yeah, let it rip.
You asked that last year, by the way.
Let it rip, buddy.
All right, so I have you guys reopen Napoli's Pizza.
Yes. Thank you, Connor. Napoli's Pizza was the gem of Combine Week. Connor had discovered it years earlier, and it became a tradition for Around the NFL. We would all go together. We'd have these specialty pies in the wood, brick oven pizza. We'd have some wine, some Tito's, and we'd be flying. I think we got to come. It's COVID's fault, though. I think I got wiped by COVID, I believe, Napoli's.
I was working on a story for the magazine, and I ran across another player who was born in Indianapolis in the team facility that I was at. And we were talking about Indianapolis with such depth that he goes, "Oh, were you born there?" He's like, "What section? Where were you?" And I was like, "No, I just have a lot of takes." But Napoli's really took up the majority of our conversation. This player was also very upset.
Yeah, remember that like 1 week where the entire NFL media acted like Indianapolis was Paris in the 40s and like made sure the combine didn't move? That was weird.
Paris.
No, how could we ever move on from Indianapolis?
I'm going to say Paris in the 40s is always
No,
a
that
great
was a
place
terrible.
to be.
I really meant
middle of World
earlier
War
that.
II.
Yeah, actually, that was.
I think there was a Nazi occupation at one point.
That was the worst historical reference I've ever made.
All right,
I was thinking more like Belle Epoque. It's a bad.
No, I got you. We all know where you're attempting to go with it. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Mark.
If 14 times you don't succeed, try again.
Yeah. Connor.
I have run and shoot, more like press and coot. Press Taylor and Jim Bob Cooter.
Okay,
I
the
love
coot
Cooter.
part I forgot he's there too.
Get Cooter. Do we have to bleep that out too?
Press Taylor. No, he's I can't. I don't beat that, but I'm going to go with we drafted the last 2 number 1 overall picks. The other 31 teams didn't draft any.
0 for the other 32. That's factual. That's just facts. The Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this one's a little weird because I don't know how they're going to promote this, but I have a GIF for the Chiefs connected to, they're missing Tyreek Hill. Honey Badger's gone. I still think about that second half of the AFC title game all the time and what happened to the team. So here it is in GIF form. This is the slogan of the team. Yes, my favorite movie.
All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please, Pittsburgh.
Frank Drebin, Lieutenant Frank Drebin from Naked Gun. Nothing to see here. Trying to wave off people away from the exploding fireworks factory.
Wow.
Everything's fine. We'll be 13-4. See you in January. That's what we're trying to get across, even though I don't think that's true.
Right. Yeah. You using this clip also indicates where you're at with the Chiefs for 2022. I'm not with you. I'm not with the Patriots.
I have something that they could spin off of what you've said. Again, clunky. I'm not happy with some of these, but no Tyreek, don't freak, will peak, not reek.
I like that.
It's the same thing, just in a different,
angle.
different delivery method.
A lesser angle.
Yes. Nothing. How about you, Connor?
I just, this is less of a phrase and just more of an observation, but it is the team of sports writers who are going to wait and say nothing when they start like 0-3. And then when they're 7-3, just be like, I want to hear from everybody who said Patrick Mahomes wasn't good after. I remember that last year. And I was like, you know what? They were bad for a while because teams learned how to stop RPOs. Like they were bad for a little while and they don't have a running game. We could point that out,
That's fair.
I'm thinking of like one person in particular that I'm actually
I want to
know
who it was. This was a good take. It wasn't a slogan at all, but I liked it.
All right, let's take a quick break and then finish it off. All right, we're back. We left off with the Chiefs. How about
Las Vegas?
The Las Vegas Raiders. Greggy, what do you got?
Devontae Adams left Aaron Rodgers for us.
That's good.
Capital us.
I mean, what else do you need to hear to be excited about the Raiders? How about you, Connor?
The Hooters that used to be here has changed locations.
Did they have the Hooters at Allegiant Stadium?
They used to employ the Hooters spokesperson.
Oh, very good. How about you, Mark?
I have nobody believes in us save for the 77% of football scribes who claim we have an excellent chance to make the postseason.
Yeah. I got jackpot, ellipses, maybe. I can't believe Brent Musburger is not the play-by-play guy anymore.
No, he's getting
Somebody
up there
told
in age.
me that. Yeah,
maybe he
he's
just
gone.
needed that
It's a
extra
bummer.
cash towards the end.
All right, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Well, I didn't mean to say it that way, but I'm saying the end of his run with the team.
I got LA Chargers. Okay, but this time for real.
How about we drafted Justin Herbert and Rashawn Slater in back-to-back years? Are you kidding me? I mean, that's pretty good. All pros,
It's good.
It's right there.
It's good, but now we need results.
Okay.
I don't have one for
All
this
right,
team.
Connor?
Not going Staley.
That's better. That's good. That's the
Los
winner.
Angeles Rams. Mark, I know you got something for the Rams.
I do. We've got a clip, but I'll read it first. See, there's no question the LA Rams are right for you. The question is, are you right for the LA Rams? Which I kind of think is their vibe because they're kind of like, we're good. We go do things our own way, but this is based off a very ponderous commercial from 1984.
See, there's no question Grape Nuts is right for you. Question is, are you right for Grape Nuts?
Remember that
I
cereal?
have no idea what that has to do with the Rams, but I like it.
That was kind of a Gen X pop culture callback.
Even
lost us in the
maybe
weeds
previous to
Boomer,
that. But yeah.
Boomer, yeah, that's.
I remember it as a child that this guy is wandering through the wilderness trying to tell you that he is basically better than you because of the cereal he eats. I don't think the Rams are not saying, they're just saying we're good.
It's a pretty compelling food product slogan. Be like, you good enough for us? I mean, can you handle it?
What do you have, Connor?
At some point, it's going to really suck to work here.
Why? What is that?
I mean, this team is going to, in 2 years, this team is going to be really bad. When Matt Stafford leaves and Jalen Ramsey can't cover anybody and Sean McVay quits to make $85 million a year calling games with Tom Brady.
When McVay leaves, sure, but people have been saying that this thing's going to blow up for 5 years and they're the most consistently successful team in the year, and Stafford and Ramsey aren't old.
It's going to, in 4 years, it's going to really suck to work there.
So you're going to say the 2026 season. But you know what? If that means that, they already have the Lombardi and they're going to have a few more years of the window open, I would sign up for that as a fan.
Yeah, I think they should go with something more like repeating as champions. Totally easy.
Yeah, because, Connor, I don't think that slogan's getting past team walls, the one that you've suggested.
Well, there's been a few like that. Yeah.
Well, that's fair.
Neither will this one. We exist to drive Marc Sessler crazy.
I don't have this animal. I think last year what they accomplished it's like, all right, you went and did it. It was before they did anything.
Here's an important one because obviously this organization's in Sports Illustrated and many other publications for very bad things right now. So they need a kick-ass slogan to change the narrative. Connor, what do you have for the Dolphins?
It's sort of a version of the same thing. So I was just saying, like, wait, you thought we were serious? Or I was just messing with you guys, something like that.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to bring attention to it. I think you just go, the teal is going to make you squeal.
Oh,
that's good. That's good. You got to pipe in the axe. That's important. Marc?
I don't think mine is appropriate.
Well, now we really need to hear it.
It just seems off tone based on how you introed the Dolphins, but I just said, ooh la la, naughty owner alert.
Minnesota Vikings. I have now with a 90% less chance of a head coach on quarterback homicide. Just that's a positive.
That's good.
You got to be positive about it.
That's definitely good.
Anybody else?
I have the Vikings originated from an area that became modern-day Scandinavia, but we're going to act like they evolved from central Minnesota, and you're going to play along with it.
That's going to be a tough one to sell, but it's good to give them options. Connor?
I went with Vikings 2022, comfortably numb.
They are.
That's good.
That's kind of how I feel.
That's good.
How about you, Gregg?
NFC North. I'm just not doing it.
Oh, that's right.
Gregg dropped that division.
Again. I thought maybe you had scrambled and got something. It's all right. The Patriots. All right. I know you got the Patriots, Greggy.
I do. Mac Jones is perfect. Can you believe it?
All right.
I mean, it just fell right into their laps.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. How about you, Gregg? Marc?
I do not have – the one thing I noticed about doing this in alphabetical order, that my selections started to slim and disappear as we got down the list. Fewer and fewer were getting entries.
Of work ethic fatigue, but that's okay. Yeah. How about you, Connor?
I did. We're getting back to Spygate. Like they've got kind of this seedy situation where no coach has a title or anything. Like they're getting the old. Right. They're getting the old Black Ops team back together. We're doing some shady stuff, baby.
That's good. I think they need it.
I just spent a couple of weeks at the Jersey Shore, and you see there's like the big beefy boy on the beach, like building the sandcastle and the fort in front of the
like
sandcastle.
A boy or a man?
He's like a large boy.
Okay.
Like he's a I don't know, I'll say heavy-set boy.
Sure.
I don't want to be mean, but now picture Matt Patricia's head photoshopped on the boy with Big Matt's got the shovel in the sandbox now. But it's a sandbox, so not a beach. So we're workshopping it.
I like it. I think it's kind of a PR strategy. Almost lean into what people are negative about you. It's like change the narrative. Matt's actually our strength.
He's calling the plays, right?
He looks like he's the play caller.
They just can't give him the title because he won't get that Lions money.
All right, how about the Saints? Connor.
Maybe our old coach was kind of a jerk.
Anybody else got something?
I've got too many. It's a mouthful, but don't worry that defensive DVOA is not as consistent annually as offensive DVOA. We're different.
That's good.
I have NSFW, not safe for work. This team, to me, gives me that vibe. Anything could happen with them. I am attracted to them in many ways that I was not in previous years, and I kind of like all the change and to see how they operate in the NFC South, which they can win.
I'm tempering it a little bit with, if 4 things go exactly right, we'll see you in the NFC title game.
That's good. I had another option, which was we kept every person Sean Payton has ever hired, and we brought in his son. So it's like he never left, right?
How about the Giants?
We'll be better than the Jets. Just like really bring that rivalry up, just like.
There's not much heat to the rivalry right now.
Okay.
Connor?
I'm stealing this from my podcast co-host, but I feel like it's like a nice cross-pod thing here where we can say like, hey, listen to the MMQB podcast.
Nice
too.
plug.
Yeah, no problem. But we're going to go with Abracadaniel.
Wait, and who is your co-host that changed it, that came up with this?
That was Gary Gramling. That was, I believe, an Adventure Time reference.
Good call. You got one, Mark?
I do for the Jets, our next team.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, last year I went with once you go Zach, you never go back. But I'm switching it up this time to, if this doesn't work, we just resort to cannibalism, right?
Potentially. What about you, Greg?
This year we'll wait longer before ruining Dan's optimism.
I'll take it. That's positive. Connor?
I went with
former Jets beat man.
Former Jets beat man. Yeah, I went with choosy moms choose Jets.
Yes. That's good.
I got a very impressive picture of Zach, the beefy boy, becomes a thick man.
I like that.
Eagles. Go ahead, Connor. What'd you got?
I was there the day that Robert Saleh called him thick with a C.
Yeah, how did that go? What was the vibe in the room in that momentous moment in football history?
I think we all felt it, there was definitely an anticipation to then see the thickness.
I do. Well, I respect your football acumen. What do you think about my Jets this year, Connor?
I think that they're a lot younger than people still believe they are.
Connor's like, will I ever be allowed on the show again if I say anything negative in August about the Jets?
I think if they win 7 games, it's a tremendous leap. And I would keep Robert Saleh if they did that, because I think that would be a really spectacular thing. I think people don't realize how bad that roster was 2 years ago. Yeah. It was really bad.
Yeah, I don't think that could be definitely a sign of success, but it does go back to the beefy, thick boy. How about the Eagles?
Hurt so good.
Oh, okay. I actually could see that.
That's that is one where it's simple. It's
Mark.
No, it's concerning because I had in my mind almost the same exact thing and decided that feels like it maybe already is a slogan for them.
It's sort of a cliche.
Right. How about you, Connor?
I was going to do like a big billboard with just a very close picture of Howie Roseman's face, the GM, and it just say like, Howie motherfucker, like he's so good. Like he's playing 3D chess with everybody. He really is.
He got out of that, that side building that they put him in for 1 year with Chip, and he is on fire. We're giving Graver a lot of work here with the swearing in this episode.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
How about Acrisure Stadium? Why did we do that?
So they're calling attention to that. Interesting strategy, but maybe it will work.
So newly regular listener Walker Rosenthal was watching me put this together the other evening, and he came up with the Steelers. He wanted to come up with one, and it was just the Steelers are going to steal the ball. I was like, that's okay, Walker. I'll throw that in there.
That's a workshop. I like it. He's getting going. He's getting his feet wet.
He knows how his age audience would react to something too.
I think his age would like that one.
Anybody else on the Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, as tough as that one is to follow, I was gonna say Mitch's Brew.
Oh, that's
nice.
good. That's good.
Well, he's on the bench.
Yeah, nobody has a Mason Rudolph based on his scintillating camp so far.
Yeah. Mitch's Brew would be a good podcast title. Like if he has a big game, we got to remember that.
Truth. How about the 49ers, Connor?
I can just co-opt my Rams one, which is at some point much sooner than the Rams. It's going to really suck to work here.
Wow.
Whoa.
See, I like your take on this because everyone basically views McVay and Shanahan as infallible, but you feel that fouls are coming. It's going to be very fallible.
Okay, so yeah, this is the reason I think so. Every time Sean McVay loses someone, like someone is running to fill that vacancy. Every time Kyle Shanahan loses a coach, who's running to fill those vacancies? Like who's tripping over themselves to get into that building right now? I don't think very many.
Or hinting at dysfunction.
Right, I'm smelling some under the radar reporting being done, and I like it.
We see it. Anybody else got Niners? Seahawks. I have this one built, one thing, and we've talked on this podcast a lot about Geno Smith and this big stage for him, but I don't think enough has been made about now we have a potential starting quarterback in the NFL and a head coach who are also the league's two leading conspiracy theorists. I think there's something there from a promotional aspect. Yeah. So I got Earth's flat and jet fuel don't melt steel beams.
That's troubling.
Mine is Geno-esque too. Happily catering to Gregg's dense and slightly confusing Geno fetish at the expense of an entire fan base.
Dense.
I'm going with that whole New Yorker story about the earthquake destroying the Pacific Northwest hasn't come true yet. So let's have some fun out there.
Interesting. Connor?
I don't have them, but I'm just enjoying like Pete Carroll showing the entire team loose change on YouTube, and it's just it's a really fun visual for me.
How about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Connor.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2022. We're kicking the can down the road.
It's like Connor hates teams that don't have the like 17-year-long building plans. They're doing fine. They're a favorite.
I didn't really have one here. Nothing
right,
really jumped out.
They were a really
hard
team for some reason to come up with one.
My thought was like we are going to massively bite the minute Tom Brady exits stage left.
Yeah, well, that's most likely the way it's going to play out. How about the Tennessee Titans? Gravedigger, why don't you jump in on this one?
Gravedigger. All right, I've got the Titans. Remember us?
That's pretty good.
Oh, right. Remember that.
It's like remember the Titans, but
also
like,
a lot of people are overlooking them.
Yeah, playing into the Titans fan base inferiority complex.
Right.
Like putting that in writing is interesting.
We were the number one seed. Please. All right, I like that. Anybody else?
Mine is the Titans are cool. The Titans are fresh. Titan. Say it from your chest.
I can't stand by that one. I don't know what it was, where it came from in your mind. I got to send that one back.
I think just like every once in a while, you just got to have like really overly enthusiastic cheers. Yeah.
Right. You got one,
Connor?
Nowhere.
Yeah. Okay. So like you said, picture the media guide. And then this is kind of going to be sort of the main headline. Tennessee Titans 2022. Last year, Connor Orr said in Sports Illustrated that you'd be looking for a quarterback, and all your idiot fans tweeted him saying he was wrong. And look who's wrong now. You're all idiots. That was going to be the kind of the slogan.
You know what? And I think you want to answer that, Gravedigger, as a fan?
Hey, Ryan Tannehill is back this year.
He's saying technically you were wrong.
So technically they did draft Malik Willis, so I guess they did look.
Axe to grind.
Tough sitch. Finally, last and perhaps least, the Washington Commanders.
I have go back to whence you came.
Ooh.
How about you, Connor?
was just gonna say, like, your classic old lovable Commanders, and the reason that I say that is because they seem to have been acting now like they're just pretending they've been the Commanders for the last 30 years now that they've rebranded, and they're just like, oh yeah, no, this is all like, they have throwback uniforms even though it's their first year in this new uniform with this new team, and I just love just the complete ignorance of the past, and it's just like, yeah, no, we've always
they're trying to retcon the entire experience.
It's very confusing. It is confusing when it's like, yeah, remember when the Hogs were going to the Super Bowl with the Commanders back in the day? That was awesome. I think we're kind of overlooking the most obvious slogan on the board. Here it is. Now it's time to all come together and begin to take command.
As we all know, decided to really go ahead and start to take command.
Yeah, they already basically.
They've done it for us.
And it's funny because I had a similar thought that we already have it. It's right at the tips of our fingertips. Here it is.
A lot of commanders in Washington, D.C. and the Pentagon.
Oh, God. That's good.
Just facts.
I know Connor agrees with me.
What is it called when you bring your yacht back to shore? What is that called?
I wish I knew, because if I knew,
docking,
there would be a whole other
mooring.
Thing.
Is that a word?
Mooring. But I like where you're going.
You know what I mean? Like, it could be like, let's dock it. Like, let's, all right, back to port. Washington Commanders.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right, there you go. Again, those are all pro bono. That's pro bono work from us. If any team wants to lift it, I would say attribute us. Let people know where it came from, but we don't have our hands out. At least I'll speak for myself. I don't know.
I'm with you on that stance.
And Connor, you've said it all. You've done it all. Anything to add? Anything to plug? Of course, you have your MMQB podcast. What else?
Well, I would say August 18th, the football preview issue comes out. Let's go to the newsstand. I do this every month, even though I get a copy at my house. I go out to the grocery store and I buy it. You should do this. You should go out and buy it, because you know what? It's a great issue. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of really good stories in there, and you don't need to enter your email address. You don't need to give anybody any credit card information. It's just you can take it anywhere. You can take it to the beach.
And you got a roster pocket full of all-stars still. You got Greg Bishop, one of the best in the game. You're cranking them out.
What kind of story did you cover in this, or what was something that would be notable if you did any work?
There might be some Orr on the cover. So
see, that's what we're talking about.
So let's I'm just saying.
It would be wild if it was actually Orr on the cover, like just you.
That would be amazing. And it's a screen grab from this podcast.
It's like, or are you kidding me? Like SI.com writer is not taking any guff.
Connor, is SI, they have the regional covers now, right? Is there a national cover as well? How does that break down?
We are so this one will be really cool. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but it's going to be a national cover.
Yeah.
And it's going to be cool. There's a cool element to it, and that's all I can allude to. So it's very very fun, very cool.
You've sold me. I'm going. I'm buying.
Yes.
Back in the day, Dr. Z would have his Super Bowl picks on the cover. Does anyone take that space or that role now? Is it maybe you?
We workshop it, so we have all of our NFL writers and editors and head editors in a text group, and then they say, all right, here's 5 or 6 potential ones there, and we will fight about it, and then we will come to sort of we'll kind of come to an agreeable conclusion, something we can all live with at the end.
And finally, I just noticed, in addition to a T-shirt that a fan had made connected to our podcast, you have the Minot Frisbee hanging on the wall prominently as well. Minot, of course, was the city in North Dakota, I believe, that was your site for your Madden or some type of video game simulation franchise. Do you have any updates in that realm before we say goodbye?
I'm still I played a video game for this is how sad dad life is. Are you gaming? Are any of you guys gaming it up right now or no?
No.
I play a little bit of golf on my old PS4.
With the kids sometimes, yeah. We have Madden in our house.
Okay. See, I'm not there yet. And so I played video games for the first time in about a year. Last weekend with my wife, we played Risk on Nintendo Switch. So
fun.
That's how far out I am on everything.
So we're
but
not
I still
building out rosters anymore.
Well, I would say this. I would say it's coming. It's in the works, but probably not in the foreseeable future.
I mean, but the question hasn't changed. Why not? My not? You know,
you want to talk about
I
slogans.
totally agree.
You still have a key to the city. Why not?
I still haven't gotten it.
All right. If
Still
anyone connected to the city of Minot, North Dakota is listening, please reach out to us and we'll get you Connor's address and everything to make that wrong right. And also to the listeners, Minot has a Wikipedia page, and yet there's no section of it dedicated to Connor and this podcast.
Well, that must be adjusted.
And we know how Wikipedia works. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If somebody wants to go in there and write a detailed Connor Orr history of Connor Orr around the NFL and the city of Minot entry, I think it stays in. I don't think it gets scrubbed.
Well, it's factual. It's not going to get yanked because of some nonsense. It's a factual report about Connor's deep embedded relationship with the town.
All right. That's it. Connor, you've said it all.
See you, Connor.
Aye, aye.
Bye-bye.
We do have a little bit of breaking news here.
Well, that's the developing news drop.
Developing works.
I would call this developing.
Absolutely. Marquise Hollywood Brown
Tom Brady here.
spent Wednesday morning in jail after getting arrested for criminal speeding.
Oh, if you get arrested for speeding, you were going mother effing fast. That I don't even know anything about the story, but how bad was the speeding?
TMZ reporting that he was stopped around 7:05 a.m. That's pretty much the details on it at this point.
I told you, Cardinals disorganized in the desert.
Hey, you win. You win again, Marc.
I mean, I'm not viewing this as a huge victory in this particular case. We'll see what happens.
They practiced very early in Arizona to beat the Heat. This absolutely feels like a late for work situation. You do not want to be late for your training.
Also, he was in the HOV lane.
Who knows?
He just came off the NFI list with that hamstring injury, and then bang, arrested.
As arrests go, this should be handled pretty smoothly, unless there's more to this story.
All right, very good. Good update there. We'll be back on Friday from Rams Camp, the defending champions. We'll be there. We'll have guests, talk about the Rams, the NFC, have some fun along the way. Until then, heed the call.